So today we're going to be going over westward expansion. There's going to be some homework that you can do at the end once you're completed listening to this lecture. So what do you know about the westward expansion? Was there different territories? Who came here? Any people that were involved? Etc. So maybe think about that before you continue to the rest of the lesson. Okay, the first people we're going to talk about is the infamous Lewis and Clark. On May 20th in 1804, 4 dozen men, including William Lewis and Meriwether Clark, set off on an expedition through the Louisiana Territory in hopes of finding a water route that would link the Pacific Ocean with the Mississippi River system. Following mainly the Jefferson River, they traveled occasionally coming in contact with the Indians that were friendly and accepted bartering or were a violent enemy. So there was multiple tribes that they did run into. While on their journey, Clark looked over the men and mapped out their route as Lewis gathered the specimens of plants and animals, along with making scientific observations. During that winter, Lewis and Clark did hire a guide, Toussaint Charbonneau, and his wife Sacagawea, and Shoshone, a woman that could interpret her people's language to help them on their travels. Eventually they reached their destination, which was St. Louis, on September 23rd, 1806, and were welcomed back as heroes. So this just maps out their expedition. And then we have this key down here that's going to tell you the U.S. territories that were already claimed, the Louisiana Purchase area all through here, and then all the Spanish and English territories. And then we're going to see where they mapped out their river, the westbound route, and then the eastbound route as well. The Oregon Trail was a major route that people took when migrating to the western part of the United States. Between 1841 and 1869, hundreds of thousands of people traveled westward onto the trail. Many of them traveled in large wagon trains using covered wagons to carry their belongings in. Although the Oregon Trail was the most used wagon trail, there were other trails that did lead out west as well. Some of them branched off the Oregon Trail, like the California Trail, which left the Oregon Trail in Idaho and headed south to California. There was also the Mormon Trail, which went from the Council Bluffs, Iowa, to Salt Lake City, Utah. This next slide we'll see the Oregon Trail mapped out, so you can go ahead and look at this key as well. The next slide that we have is the Pony Express, which is a mail delivery service that ran between Missouri and California. Using the Pony Express, mail could arrive in California as few as 9 days rather than the weeks it took to arrive when sent by horse carriage. Pretty amazing if you think about what they could accomplish. To continue the route, use the Pony Express. Went from St. Joseph, Missouri to Sacramento, California. There were 184 stations along the 1,900-mile route. It followed the Oregon Trail for a ways and then used the Mormon Trail to Salt Lake City. The trail traveled over the Rocky Mountains, the Sierra Nevada Mountains, and finally to California. So you can see that there. The Transcontinental Railroad stretched from the east coast of the United States all the way to the west coast. No longer would people travel in long wagon trails that took months to reach California. They could now travel faster, safer, and cheaper by train. In addition to people, things like mail, supplies, and trade goods could now be shipped across the country in just a few days. The railroad was built between 1863 and 69. There were two main routes along which people wanted the first railroad to be built. One was called the Central Route. It followed much of the same route as the Oregon Trail. It would begin in Omaha, Nebraska, and end up in Sacramento, California. The other route was the Southern Route. This route would stretch across Texas, New Mexico, and end up in Los Angeles, California. The Central Route was eventually chosen by Congress. See there, all the routes with the T here. So that does wrap up our westward expansion little tidbit here. Your homework is going to be to complete the assigned worksheet in your homework folder. That's going to coincide with this lecture. You're going to complete that one. It's just going to be some vocabulary and things that we learned, some fill in the blanks. The next thing you're going to do is create your own westward expansion map on the second worksheet. You're going to go ahead and color that with all the different colors of the trails, and I want you to really work hard on this so that you can see all the different railroads on it and how, and then we can keep adding to it as well. Then you're going to go ahead and write a reflection in your journals of what you learned about westward expansion today.